Good morning, students. Today we shall discuss three topics. One is reader's response criticism, second one is Marxist criticism, and third one is feminist criticism. So what is the idea of reader's response criticism? Author gives the foundation of a text and the reader builds the meaning on it. So there is an interaction between reader and author. The text is improved as more readers read several times. Okay, so this is the idea of reader's response criticism. They leave out all other philosophies and ideas and everything. They simply say the text is produced for the sake of reader, and what do the readers think? Okay, so how do the readers think, and what kind of meaning or interpretation they are going to give, and we shall consider that alone. So that is said to be reader's response criticism. So a text is created by the author, and that is the foundation, and all other meanings are given by the readers. Okay, one reader gives one kind of meaning, another reader gives another kind of meaning, and in another age another reader gives another kind of meaning. So thus a text is improved as many readers read it several times. Okay, so a text survives as long as it has readers. Okay, so therefore readers is the most important thing, and readers are allowed to give their own meanings, their own interpretation. As long as the text is read, the text is going to survive. Okay, so this is the idea about reader's response criticism. And Marxist criticism, this is again a lengthy topic, yet we shall let me condense as far as I can. Marxist criticism considers that literature is product of socio-economic structures. Okay, Karl Marx said everything is based on socio-economic structure. Okay, see, during Elizabethan age, lots of literature were produced in English literature. Why? Because that is a glorious age for England, and poverty has been reduced to the maximum extent. Many inventions have been done, and there was political stability. Most importantly, there was political stability, and people were prosperous. Moreover, England became the superpower in the world. Okay, and during Elizabethan age only, during the reign of Queen Elizabeth, England became the superpower in the world. They became sun never set empire in the world, and there was political stability, and naturally literature will flourish. Okay, so therefore literature is a product of socio-economic structure. If there is social and political stability of the nation, naturally more literature is going to be produced. This is said by Karl Marx, and everything is based on the social and political stability. If many philosophers are evolved, it is only because of social and political stability. If there is no social and political stability, philosophers will not evolve. Okay, Buddha is able to create a new religion, a new way of life. Why? Because his stomach is full. Okay, he was a prince. Okay, he doesn't suffer from poverty or any disease. Okay, his health is good, and he was very rich. Lord Buddha was very rich, and therefore he is able to think about philosophy. If he leads a life of poverty, he cannot think about philosophy. Okay, what is when a man is hungry, he can think how my hunger is going to be solved. That's all. and he cannot how human beings are suffering. Desire is the cause of will. Likewise, he cannot think. Okay, so that is the idea of Marxism. More literature or produced, people are able to think about philosophy, aesthetics. Everything is because of socio-economic stability. If people are given an if the economy of the nation is proper, then naturally the nation in all fields, not only in literature, in sports and in entertainment, in arts, in all fields, the nation is going to prosper. Okay, so therefore the nation's politics is more important. Okay, so rather than giving importance to religion and other philosophy, the nation's political stability should be proper. Okay, so therefore the government should function for the cause of people. This is what Karl Marx said, and if the government wants to serve people, then it should follow the philosophy of communism, that is equality. Okay, so that's what Karl Marx said, and Marxist criticism says that literature is product of socio-economic structure. Okay, so when there is political stability, naturally more literature will be flourished, and the author's socio-economic background matters a lot. Okay, if the author, reader as well as the author, even if it is Shakespeare or whoever it could be, if he lives in poverty, literature cannot be produced. He cannot write poetry. Okay, that is a fact. Okay, and after defeating, if an author after defeating poverty, and if he starts to write, and then he will talk about poverty in his poetry. Okay, see, if the author comes from poor background, definitely he will discuss a lot on the suffering of poor people. Okay, if the author is from rich and affluent, he will not think about poor people. Even if he thinks about poor people, the intensity of the poor people cannot be or properly be expressed in that literature. Okay, so therefore the author's socio-economic background matters a lot in as far as literature is concerned, and so let's say Marxist critics say that literature is maximum produced by the rich and affluent. Okay, and somehow if an author manages to write poetry, and when he became popular, naturally he became rich. Okay, so and whatever the literature, whatever the poetry written by him is only written by the rich people. Okay, therefore literature is out and out produced only by rich people. Okay, this is the idea given by Marxist critics. Okay, so rich and affluent alone are producing literature. Okay, so poor people cannot produce literature, and they are not allowed to produce literature. This is the idea of Marxist criticism. Okay, so therefore a communist form of government should be implemented, and in that communist form of government, authors should focus on social reality. Okay, so authors, writers should tell the social reality, and the literature should, the main theme of literature should be for a political cause. Okay, and it should moralize people. Okay, this is the way of life, and people should support government, and especially equality. And people cannot, an individual cannot be allowed to be rich and affluent forever and ever. He cannot earn money, more and more money throughout his life and his generations. Okay, So at a particular point, the money should be given to government, and government will give to common people. Okay. So this idea should be encouraged in literature, and literature should focus on social reality. Okay. So this is the idea of Marxist criticism. And then finally feminist criticism. And so what do the feminist critics say? Throughout the human history, women sacrifice, women efforts, women's labor is completely ignored. So everything is based on women, but their pagani and their labor is not recognized. Okay, so therefore, what does the author do in his in the literature that he is creating, and how he treats women in that literature? Everything is discussed in feminist criticism. Okay. So the feminist criticism of Macbeth will be superficially, because of Lady Macbeth only, Macbeth assassinates or kills King Duncan, and because of that Macbeth falls. But when we read deeply, it is not because of Lady Macbeth. It is because of Macbeth himself. But Macbeth simply, of course not explicitly, but male chauvinistic reader would think in that way. Okay. So feminist criticism feminist critics would appreciate Shakespeare, but post-colonial critics, of course, that topic is not given in our textbook, but that is also another wide topic. And post-colonial critics would criticize Shakespeare, but feminist critics would appreciate Shakespeare, and Shakespeare supports women, and he recognizes women in all his plays, and that is the reality. But Shakespeare never had a good opinion on Indians and Africans, and he always shows Asian people as well as Africans in a darker way. That's why post-colonial critics would condemn Shakespeare, but feminist critics would appreciate Shakespeare. Okay, so they would deeply analyze what is the mentality of the author, and how the text treats women, and how does the literary text glorify women. Everything is discussed by the feminist critics. Okay, so that's all about various ways of criticism, especially 20th century criticism, and let me continue in the next video. Thank you.